My name is Damon with Complete Media. I am going to be doing a reaction on a court show where someone is suing a DJ for some reason. This is not going to be law advice. This is just me, a guy that happens to run a company that does events such as DJing, photography, and videography for weddings and other events. I happen to also like court shows, and so I get to share my experience with you and do a reaction to what I see people get sued for on TV. So we're going to rock with this video right now. First thing I want to do is I want to scroll down here and read what it says. It says the plaintiff and defendant used to be friends. The plaintiff said he DJs from time to time and rented some equipment from the defendant to DJ a party. He says the defendant has not returned the DJ set, so he's suing for breach of contract. The defendant argues that on the night in question, a shooting occurred at the party and ended with someone losing their life. Damn. The defendant says some of the equipment got stolen during the commotion, so he doesn't think he owes the plaintiff. And this is for Judge Mathis. Shout out to the D. I know Judge Mathis reps the D, and all my people's in the D as well. So interestingly, we had a situation somewhat similar to this. We had a client that rented some uplights from us. Uplights are lights that sit on the ground and shine up on the wall typically. And I'll go ahead and bust a picture right here so you can see what I'm talking about. And we did the event, and when you're doing uplights, you go in with the lights, you set the color, and then you set them on the ground, and you leave, and you come back, and you pick them up at the end of the event. So we did the event, came back, and 2 lights were missing. And so we scoured the area. We couldn't find it. We asked the venue management staff and all the staff there, and they didn't know what happened to it. They didn't see anything. And so we went to the client and explained to them that, it's their event. And so we find that, but we hold you liable because, we're performing this at your event. It's up to you to make sure that the people that you bring to this event are trustworthy and don't steal our equipment. And we argued back and forth. Long story short is we just went ahead and at cost of doing business type of thing, and left it alone. Had it been more expensive equipment, we probably would have had a longer debate, but we didn't. They just decided as a company it makes more sense. They were happy because we did what we were supposed to do. We lit up the room and the room looked great. So we didn't push the issue, just the cost of doing business type of thing. But that was a decision that we made. I still think, and you can definitely tell me something in the comments below if you think I'm wrong, but I think we had a case for them being liable and needing to pay us to replace those lights, not only to replace the lights, but any subsequent loss of business as well. But again, I'm not a lawyer. I don't give out legal advice, just kind of looking at the way that a contract is written and just the how we've done business, since '05. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get in this video right now, and I'll give my comments as I guess I see fit or whatever. But let's just go ahead and get into it. I'm very interested in this one to see what the situation and how Judge Mathis decides it. So let's go ahead and rock it out.
Plaintiff Philip Jones says when he was 18, he started hanging with the wrong crowd and ended up incarcerated. Although he was convicted of a felony, Philip got his bachelor's degree and is currently pursuing his master's. Philip also works as a DJ, and he rented his equipment to the defendant, but he failed to return it, so he's suing.
So all that backstory doesn't matter. I think that's just for good TV. I used to do this. I was a bad guy, and now I'm a good guy. So you should feel good for me. I want you to root for me. I think it's the reason why they're doing this, because all that really doesn't matter. They could have just said that last sentence. Rented the equipment to the defendant, and he hasn't returned it. That's it. Nothing about bad guy or I was in wrong crowd or I've got my degree and all that other stuff. But that's fine.
Defendant Brandon Hemphill works as a teacher by day and a DJ by night. And that's why he rented Philip's equipment. However, while DJing a party, there was a shooting and one person was killed. And during the scramble to get out, Philip's equipment was stolen. So Brandon doesn't feel responsible.
All right.
All right, so I'm just going to stop here real quick. And a couple of different things I wanted to point out. First, in the wedding industry, you have a few different type of DJs. You have companies like ours, which work full-time. We have a full-time staff here Monday through Sunday, basically. We're focused on the clients and doing their events. But there are some DJs and even some DJs that work for us that they have a Monday through Friday job, but since most weddings are on the weekend, then they DJ on the weekend. So they do utilize our equipment or they have their own equipment, but two different styles there. There's nothing wrong with either. You can be a teacher and a DJ. There's doctors and DJs. There's all kinds of different combinations there, and that's never a problem. Number two, I'm going to say defendant loses 100%. It doesn't matter what happened. You rented the equipment. You need to bring their equipment back. If you rented the equipment and got carjacked, then it was still in your possession, bro. So it was in your possession. You got carjacked. You can go after the person that carjacked you and sue them, but you still need to give me my stuff back. You know, so that's what I think Judge Mathis is going to rule. We've got 13 plus minutes here to see exactly what's going to be said. We're going to get some backstory, some sob story, some, oh my God, there was a shooting and all that. But I guarantee you at the end of the day, once we get down to 12 minutes past, then you'll see that Judge Mathis is going to be like, yeah, you owe him that equipment or the money.
State your case.
Well, I want to start off by saying you are truly an inspiration to me, Judge. I'm saying this because when I was 18 years old,
see, backstory.
I wound up hanging out with some guys.
I was a bad
I
guy.
went to high school with, got in the wrong crowd, and wound up getting myself in some trouble. I was convicted of a felony and sentenced to serve time. And
sentenced to wear bow ties.
And the judge said to me, when I told him I still had aspirations of becoming an attorney, he told me that this wouldn't happen, that it was impossible, and that he would see to it that I'm a felon for life. And
you know, you can get your degree as a felon, but you can't practice law. You won't be able to go through the bar. You can pass the bar, but still the governors of the bar won't allow you because there's your credibility comes into play. So that won't happen typically.
Part of the reason I haven't stopped.
And if you want to watch this full episode, you can go ahead and do that. I'll put a link down here below in the description. I'm not really caring about his whole backstory. I just want to get to the case. I think you guys want to get into the case too. Thank you guys. I appreciate you clapping for me too.
Those are the type of examples that motivate me to continue to talk about the obstacles I had.
One interesting fact, while I was incarcerated, I actually wrote you, Your Honor.
Did you?
I did.
Well, if you
Saying
ask
the
me to
same
get
thing.
you out, I don't.
Brother
If
out.
you say when I get out, Judge, if you could help me, then you'll get a response.
No.
Nobody writes me as guilty. I've never had a letter from prison where the guy is guilty. Judge, they say they had 5 eyewitnesses that were standing over me. They showed this
Okay, so
video,
again,
this
more
and all that in court.
Mathis talking, so I'm going to fast forward to this a little bit.
It was saying the same thing I just said here today, and I'm honored to say it in person.
Yeah.
So.
All right, I'm honored to be here suing somebody for you to be able to be in person.
The judge gave me a second chance. He said, well, because I stayed in the penal system until my
still more
court
talking. Let's
date,
get to
I
that.
had my record expunged. And
Nice,
even though I
record
had
expunged.
my record expunged.
Yeah, you said that
Because the
already.
Bar Association is not a legal entity, well, it's not a governmental entity, so they can do what they want. It's like a membership. The Bar Association is like a club. They can say, well, we don't want you in our club because
You
we
a
think you're
felon, bro.
unfit.
You
Well,
are a
I'm
felon.
unfit
You won't
because
get in the
10
club. I
years
just
ago,
said that.
you did such
Yep,
and such.
exactly. So I
Don't
just said
give
that.
up. And
All right,
I'm
anyway, let's
so
get to the
glad
case,
hear
please.
that it has an effect for me to talk about my journey.
Come on, man. That's
a lot
why
of
it's
folks
13
say,
minutes
you continue
long.
to talk about the judge did this, goes at least to a community folks showing an example. So once again, I congratulate you. Tell me what you've been through in life.
Right now, I'm a teacher at the #1 high school in Wisconsin. I DJ.
They ain't clapping for the teacher. Hey, you a felon, but you doing right now. Go ahead and clap. But you teach.
Good.
Silence. Silence, silence. Crazy.
There's a shortage.
Shout out to our teachers.
Male teachers all
Shout out to the
country.
teachers out there. All the
So
teachers
you're
checking
doing
this
the
out.
service
Shout out
yourself
to you
there.
for
Both
sure.
You guys are doing
Now we're gonna
work.
clap?
Thank you again.
Yeah, he made them clap for the teacher, but otherwise they were just like, oh, he's a teacher.
Where you know
Who
the
cares?
defendant from? Tell me about you all.
Here we go. Now we're getting to the
together.
case.
The defendant and I have been friends for years now, just knowing each other through DJing. You know, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where we're from, is kind of small. So,
Okay.
you know, word gets out who's DJing. And we've done several functions together, actually. We did a DJ battle some years ago.
Uh-oh,
And we
battle? What kind of
we've
DJ
had,
battle? Come
Who
on,
has
y'all, what
the
kind of
biggest
DJ?
reputation in town?
I don't know. It depends on who you talk to.
All right, who charges the most?
I charge more.
Uh-oh. Well, he got all the equipment, though. He charged more because he got all the equipment.
Yes,
Either
Your
you
Honor.
up your price? Well, no, he might be undercutting you to get more business.
I mean, you know, I look out for the you know, the people who struggle a little bit.
There you go.
know, I plug here and there. You know, so I do what I can for the people.
And you
What the
all
heck
had
does that mean? I help out the people.
breach of contract. Tell me
The
about
heck?
this.
I don't know what that means. Anyway, let's get to the
For
contract.
this
Here we go.
particular instance,
Good
I
stuff.
rented my equipment to
6
the
minutes
defendant
into this
before,
video.
and everything always went smooth. But on this particular instance, I rented. My father rented the equipment to the defendant on my behalf while I was incarcerated.
Dang.
And there was some incident. I'm not actually sure what happened, but there was some
When did he
incident
get
and the
out?
equipment was never returned.
Okay.
And neither was the $75 rental fee that was agreed upon.
What happened? What
$75
incident?
rental fee. What did
Your
you
Honor,
rent?
The night of April 17th, I had to. I was scheduled to DJ.
You had his equipment?
Yes, yes, I had.
Here we go.
The party ended tragically. Really, really
Ended
bad.
tragically?
Yeah, it was a shooting. I'm gonna just take you through my night. It was a regular night. Started around 10. I was there. It was a 2-level building, so it was upstairs and
so it was like
downstairs.
a
I was on
club
the
setup.
upper level, which
what is
was,
he
you know,
renting?
it was really not a lot of people up there. So around 2 o'clock, the party was over at 2:30. Around 2 o'clock, it was winding down. I was getting ready, you know, to pack everything up, and then from the lower level, you hear 5 gunshots rang out, and after the 5, you know, everybody's scrambling in front of me. I'm trying to unplug, and then I guess at the back door was a gunfight.
He trying to unplug? Ain't you trying to leave? There's gunfire. So let me grab my equipment. Let me grab not my equipment. Let me grab somebody else's equipment and get out of there. No. You just tried to leave, dude. Come on. You ain't grabbing no equipment. You barely grab your phone if you hear gunshots, man.
That proceeded to happen. 3 people were struck. 1 person died, and in the
I don't want to say it like that. I love my people, but he doesn't sound like the type of teacher that I want teaching my son. That's all I'm saying.
midst of me, the only thing I was really able to get out the studio at the time was my turntable, my laptop. I can't even get my laptop plug out, you know. I'm scrambling to get everything. I walk to my van because my van is right by the front door, and I turn around to go back to get the speakers. It's a man shot laying on the ground in front of me. And at that point, I had to choose between a man life and retrieving PJ equipment. And it's not I was ducking any responsibilities. You know, it was just I wouldn't want nobody to make that decision. And I made a hard decision. I picked him up, threw him in my van, and drove to the closest hospital. And the same time when I was walking him in to the emergency room, the guy who died, they was dumping him on the emergency room floor. You know, so it was like, it was, at that point, it got surreal for me. And, you know, I kind of knew that the police had me on camera, you know, walking to the emergency room floor. So I tried to stick around to, you know, talk to the police, and the police was telling me to wait. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to go. I'm going to go back to the studio and try to get my equipment before, you know, I know it's going to be a crime scene.
You talk like that.
So
You a
in the
teacher,
midst of me
man.
walking back to the minivan, the police obviously got my minivan license plates, and they took everything out of my car and was taking pictures and everything, and they held me for a good 9 hours to just investigate.
And you say that to say you still got to return the equipment to him. It doesn't matter that the police did anything with the stuff. It was in your possession, so it's your responsibility.
After that, I mean, the police treated me like I was the criminal. Like, I knew exactly who was shooting. I told them I had nothing to do with it. I was hired to DJ. You know, they telling me I'm stupid for DJing these hood parties. But at the same time, they don't understand that this is my living. At that time, I wasn't a teacher. Only thing I had was DJing. And
sorry to hear that they mistreated you. Some police do that during their investigation. They, as you say, treat bystanders.
I mean, you brought in a dude. I'm not saying he's wrong. You bring in somebody who is shot into emergency room, they're going to ask you questions.
I was trying to talk to him at first, and then
That's
after
my
that,
point.
I mean,
You were trying to talk to them, mean you were volunteering to help tell them what went down. So you're scared to even say that you were volunteering to talk to them. And the reason and that's the reason, because some police, they don't have the trust in their community, and so people won't talk to them. They say there's no snitch code where people won't tell when they see a crime being committed. A lot of times it's because the police will get them in there. Bad police will get them in there, and they'll
All right, let's get back to the case. Sorry, I can tell there's going to be a quick verdict.
police started handling me rough because I couldn't give them no valuable information.
Yeah. Did they catch the assailants?
No, it's still an open pending case.
Out of all those people who were there, nobody knows
That's,
who did it. And nobody wants to talk to the police. They don't trust the police, and then they're scared of the retaliation. He's suggesting, I guess, that it was out of his control. And what you would have to prove is that he was negligent and deviated from what a reasonable person would have done under that circumstance, unless he gave you a blanket guarantee saying, okay, whatever happens, or just that you are responsible. Period.
Your
it doesn't
Honor,
have any exclusions. Yes.
excuse me, I'm sorry to interrupt you there. I do have a contract stating
Oh, good.
that he's
You
responsible.
have done well for yourself educationally. You
what-
know to put
what-
that together.
All right, I'm going to say this, as I say in many episodes. I say it on my podcast, The Complete Wedding Podcast. Check it out. I say it in these videos. I say it as much and as loud as I can. Always. Yeah. Always. Yeah. Always. Yeah. Have a signed contract. Always have a signed contract. All right.
Thing I would like to point out that I would like to disagree with the defendant on is that he didn't duck any responsibilities. I caught that he had said that, and it is tragic what happened, don't get me wrong, and I feel bad about that myself.
For sure.
I'm more speaking towards after that whole situation transpired. I made several attempts to contact him, as well as my father, and this is all after I was released, so this is 6 months later. And I thought we had came to an agreement as far as getting the equipment replaced, and the defendant never followed through with it. So that's why I'm here today.
Yeah, well, he's going to have to follow through now. Sir, do you remember signing this contract?
Up. Always, always, always get a contract signed. Period. Everything else. See, you saw Mathis was like, well, I mean, reasonable person would say there's gunfire, so I'm out of here. And then come back and the stuff is stolen. What are they supposed to do? Right? That's what Mathis was about to say. And I guess I didn't think about that part. So he's right. But then when your contract says, doesn't matter what happens, you bring back my stuff. Period.
Agreeing to be responsible,
Yes, I do,
totally
sir.
responsible. There's no exclusion. There's nothing that says unless I'm a victim of a third-party crime or unless this or that or the other. The only way you can get out of a contract of this sort is if it was an act of God. And God definitely didn't want that to happen.
No, not at all. I wouldn't
Yeah,
say
an
that
act
neither.
of God typically is having to do with weather or something of that nature.
It
something
did rain that
having
night.
Judgment for the plaintiff. I'm so proud of you guys and the work you're doing, both in schools and in empowering yourself and empowering your community. Good luck to you both. Judgment for the plaintiff.
Man, I mean,
Yeah, I'm glad we got it worked out.
Yeah, I had to get a job before I had to pay you, brother.
I understand, man.
Yeah, I just hope we could continue business. I mean, by all means necessary, I really appreciate your father too, Mr. Jones. I really appreciate your help at the time. I'm sorry it took so long, man. I was really in a bad financial
Man,
state.
get
You know,
out
having
here.
a newborn,
Get out of here.
diapers,
So what?
bills on top of that. You know,
It's worked out now.
Shut
man.
up.
Oh, it's cool,
Shut up.
man.
Just remember.
Shut up.
Phone call.
Yes, sir. Yes, Mr. Jones. Yes, sir.
Shut up. All right, I said shut up. I told that dude to shut up 7-8 times. That is a bunch of crap. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I was going through all this stuff. At 6 months, I couldn't get a job, and I had a newborn, and this and that. I mean, shut up, dude, man. You knew that you owed that dude. You were ducking his calls. You were ducking his calls. You were not responding to him. You were not paying him back, and you're probably still DJing. Hey, you know what? I ain't gonna pay this dude, so I'm gonna take I'm gonna find somebody else and rent their equipment for $75, man. Come on, you rented that stuff for $75. I don't know what he rented, whether it was a controller, whether it was speakers and a microphone and a controller and speaker stands and all this stuff, but $75, man, you can't even, come on, man, that's garbage, man. I can't even return the man $75. Like, hey, I rented your stuff. Sorry, I couldn't bring it back to you in the way it was supposed to, but here's your $75 back. Like nothing. I got to go chase you down. I got to put you on Judge Mathis and all that stuff. And then you want to shake my hand after, man? Oh, and then say, but we can still do business. No, we can't do business, man. We cannot do business anymore. You took my equipment. You didn't bring it back to me. I had to chase you down for 6 months plus however long it took to get on the Judge Mathis show, plus. And all I get is, my equipment, the cost of the equipment at the time of the rental, which let's just say it was 8 months ago, which I can't use. I'd have claimed loss of business and all that stuff on this dude, man. Like, anyway, so as I said in the very beginning of this video, it took 12 minutes. Actually, when did he say judgment for the plaintiff? Let's see here. When did he get to the actual contract? Told you that the 12-minute mark. I said at the 12-minute mark. Look at that. 12 minutes 26 seconds. I said at 12 minutes, that's when it's going to happen. Is at 12 minutes and 26 seconds, Judge Mathis was going to rule in favor of the plaintiff. So I was right. So there you have it. Another video down. I like doing these because I like watching these shows to make sure that I'm on point. I learned something here today watching this video. So that's something that I'll keep in mind for the future. In the case that I mentioned, if I would have taken those clients to court for someone stealing my lights, I don't think that I would have lost either because there was nothing like what happened in this case where there was a shooting and people died and all that stuff. It was just a regular wedding and one of their friends decided to jack my stuff. It's basically what happened. But again, I would rather not force the issue for $500, $800 and then risk them then retaliating online and giving me bad reviews, which would cost a lot more. So that is the video for today. My name is Damon with Complete Media. As I said before, I am not a lawyer. I am not a member of that organization, that clubhouse that Judge Mathis mentioned, which is the Bar Association. So I am not the guy to give you legal advice. I'm just the guy that runs a company that does DJing, photography, and videography. And I also happen to be the guy that likes to watch court shows. This was one of those court shows, and I appreciate you rocking with me for these 20 or so minutes. I will catch you on the next one.